My God, I hate drugs.
President Rodrigo Duterte calling on his troops to finish off terror groups as he visits the site of back-to-back deadly blasts at a church in the town of Jolo. These are photographs of that visit, which happened yesterday afternoon. Here's the president at the Cathedral of Our Lady of Mount Carmel, the site of the explosions. Mr. Duterte was accompanied by his former special assistant Bongo and his daughter, Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte Carpio. The attack happened Sunday morning during Mass. It killed 20 people and injured more than 100 others. Presidential spokesperson Sal Panelo earlier said the president was angry and disappointed following the bombings. Panelo also pointed out there may have been lapses on the part of security forces in the town, but he clarified that Malacanang is not disappointed with how the military is securing the town, particularly in implementing martial law. And now let's talk to PNP Chief Oscar Albayalde. Good morning, sir.
Yes, good morning.
Thank you for taking our call. Sir, what are the PNP's measures to implement the president's order to finish off terror groups in Sulu?
Well, yesterday we agreed upon to the president gave a directive to intensify our operations. Of course, the intelligence operations is really very important when we're trying to identify the perpetrators and, of course, the members of the ASG in the area.
Speaking of the perpetrators, sir, do you have an update on the investigation? What is the latest there?
We have a person of interest, members of the Ajang group who are affiliated with the ASG and are pledging allegiance to ISIS. One was identified as Kama.
And Jolo, Sulu is currently under lockdown because of the blasts. How long will it be under lockdown? Is it until the perpetrators are brought in, or are you looking at an extended period of time?
Well, not probably. It will depend on the situation there. It will depend on the peace and order situation there. And we have a task force Sulu that will decide on that.
Okay. Sir, can you tell us more about the suspect that you named just a few moments ago?
Yes, this suspect were seen through the CCTV footages before and after the incident, after the explosions. So they were identified. So they are now basically persons of interest, and they were identified as members of the Ajang group. These Ajang groups are young persons that are being used by the ASG. And some of them are, their parents are also members of the ASG.
Right, and some of their parents were killed
yes.
in the conflict.
Yes.
Sir, these individuals, how close are we to actually catching them?
Well, it depends. Our operations are continuous. Our intelligence monitoring are continuous. That's why we are actually intensifying our intelligence gathering on these persons of interest and other members of the ASG.
Okay. The West Mincom released some CCTV footage, which we're actually airing right now. What was unusual about their activity that alerted you to them?
Well, number one, their presence in the area. That's very unusual. Before and as I've said, before, during, and after the explosion.
Okay, sir. Now the PNP is on heightened alert. Until when will it have this status?
That will depend on the situation, and that will also depend on the discretion of the different regional directors. In other regions, they are in heightened alert, but I think in Metro Manila, we maintain the full alert status.
All right. Thank you very much, sir, for your time this morning. That was PNP Chief Oscar Albayalde. Now, authorities are pointing at 6 people who could be behind the attack. National Security Advisor Hermogenes Esperon said they are looking at 2 groups and 6 persons of interest based on recovered closed-circuit television footage. He notes suspicious movements by the persons of interest after the bombs were set off. In an interview on CNN Philippines Newsnight, the Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao Police Chief clarified only 4 of the 6 persons of interest were seen running after the explosions. The 2 others were not in the vicinity of the cathedral during the incident.
one of them passed something to
Yung isang kasama.
it looks like a cell phone. Parang may pinasa doon sa kanya while they were running. I think they already mentioned that they are members of the younger members of the Abu Sayyaf group, the Ajang. We're still checking. We're still looking into it. Indeed, they're. I think na-identify doon was only one.
Oh, all right. Yeah? Can you share his name? Are you at liberty to do that?
We'll have it confirmed. We'll have it confirmed first.
In other news, the clock is ticking for lawmakers to pass the 2019 national budget, but the bicameral conference committee is still reviewing allocations. Our Caroline Bonquin tells us more.
January is coming to a close, but the government still doesn't have a new budget for 2019. And it seems lawmakers are back to the drawing board. They still have to come up with a common version. The House of Representatives is asking for 51 billion pesos more, and the Senate 198 billion. During a Monday morning meeting, both sides agreed to set a cap to budget amendments. Senator Panfilo Lacson suggests 50 billion pesos. Senator Ralph Recto, 75 billion.
Ang suggestion ko, mag-start muna tayo sa 50.
Okay.
And then probably when the need arises, no, from both houses, sabihin nyo, mahirapan kaming ihagel yung 67% or 75% of the House portion. Saka na lang uli i-discuss.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Kasi pag nagsimula ito sa malaking figure, I'm sure lolobo pa yan eh.
Kailangan malaman muna namin yung pagkukuna namin. Hindi naman pwedeng oo lang ng oo. Dahil yun nga, 250 billion yun eh. So, saan mo hukunin yun?
Senator Lacson says amendments may be introduced in public works projects that were not thoroughly examined. Lawmakers will check which districts and institutions should be prioritized. Based on allocations presented by Andaya, 64 congressional districts still need 51 billion pesos. It also shows former House Speaker and Davao del Norte Representative Pantaleon Alvarez got the biggest share for 2019. 8.4 billion pesos, while Basilan Lone District Representative Jum Akbar got the least, 408 million pesos.
Isa-isahin pa yun. Yung merit ng pagbawas at yung merit ng pagdagdag, pag-aaralan pa rin yun. Hindi ganun kadali yun.
If there's a need for more cash for work, if there's a need for a bridge to be built, there's a need, and it has the concurrence of the regional director, of the district engineer, and it has program of works. I think we ought to give it to that district.
Andaya says House Speaker Gloria Arroyo has asked him to prioritize 10 billion pesos for the health department, 20 billion for agriculture, and 350 million for housing. Meanwhile, Andaya says they discovered an additional 53 billion pesos worth of insertions in the DPWH budget. This is separate from the controversial 75 billion peso insertions Andaya has accused Budget Secretary Ben Jocno of.
Ang initial report namin, hindi nila hiningi at palangwa hindi sila sure kung mai-implement nila dahil wala nga sa plano nila.
Senator Lauren Legarde says they aim to come up with a common budget by January 30th. Caroline Bonquin, CNN Philippines.
It's a simple song about a shark that kids love, but like many pop culture phenomenons, it went global when few expected it to. CNN's Paula Hancock has more on the baby shark craze that started in South Korea.
President Duterte, of course, visited Jolo, Sulu yesterday, the site of the twin bombings, and he's calling on AFP and PNP officials to finish off the terrorist groups there.
That's right. And we did mention that according to his spokesperson, of course, Attorney Sal Panelo, that President Duterte is angered and frustrated and disappointed.
Yeah, as expected, as he would be. Well, the House passes the bill to lower criminal age, well, from 15 now to 12. As we remember before, they were happy with the 9, right?
Yeah.
And then Senate went back and said, no, it's too young. So now they are moving it back to 12. So let's see where it goes. A lot of people are chiming in because when they do catch these 12-year-olds, if ever they do, 12 to 15, there's no place to put them. They still need to build more of these Bahay Pagasa detention centers to help rehabilitate and help the children. Instead, what's going to happen, they're going to put them in the jail cells.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about this earlier, of course, sad news in the music industry yesterday. Rock icon Pepe Smith dies at 71 years old. Again, our condolences to Pepe Smith's and his family, the Smith family. So stick around.